Come on, little man, and take my hand, and we'll dance the night away. Anyways, now I'm going to tell you right off the bat. Just right out there. I'm going to lay it out there for you. Just like a hot ass out on the sun. I'm just going to lay it out there for you. I don't know how long this is going to be. But the next quite a few words out of my mouth are going to be completely fucking stupid. Like, just fucking stupid. I acknowledge this. Like, I am putting on my tinfoil hat here. Okay? I want to try to piece together a conspiracy that I'm making myself this moment right now. Okay? I've actually been thinking about this for a while, and it's just, I want to talk about it. So it's kind of a what if. You can take it as a joke, you can take it as whatever. I don't care. I'm just throwing it out there. Okay. What if? What? Now keep in mind, again, we're talking tinfoil hat, we're talking, this is stupid. This is a really stupid idea. But it's intriguing to me, and I want to commit it to word. I want to commit it to your ears. And you can do whatever you want with it. What if? What if? No, actually, I don't even know where to begin. It's a dinosaur conspiracy. What if the dinosaurs or the Anunnaki, or whatever those alien race fuckers are? Now hear me out. I know people say, well, it couldn't be because blah blah blah. Listen. First off, I want to point out a few things. First off, this is my own personal thing. I don't agree with all the dating. Well, this dinosaur bone is 100 million gazillion years ago. No, I fuck that. I don't agree with any of that stuff. Because you could take the same thing to 8 different people and they would come up with 8 different time frames, which it was supposed to, you know. So, as far as like carbon dating and stuff, I don't know. And there's ways around carbon dating. In fact, I'm going to get into that in a little bit. Now, a lot of people say, well, they had the brain the size of a pea. Listen, I understand they had the brain the size of a pea. But I'm going to get into that as well. Now, we're talking Bible stuff here too. Now, I'm gonna make an argument, because there are legitimate. Some people want to say they're hoaxes. Some people well, actually, they're not hoaxes. They're not. But people want to say, well, it wasn't really this, it was that. But there are actual fossils where you see human footprints and dinosaur footprints running along the beach. Okay. Now, I don't know how I feel about that. Although, I mean, let's be honest. The Knights of the Round were all going out slaying dragons. You're telling me the dragon wasn't a dinosaur? And it couldn't have been a dinosaur trapped in a cave somewhere? Really? That's out of the realm of possibility? And that wasn't that long ago. 15th, 18th century, whatever it was. Whatever the knights were, I don't know, fucking know. I don't know history. But whatever. Seriously, you tell me that a little large dinosaur, a large lizard, whether it breathes fire, well, let's not get into all that stuff, but although they actually said it could. They could if they had, if they had certain pockets in the way that it would hit the air and stuff. Whatever. I don't want to get into that stuff. But you could technically have dinosaurs and people at the same time. All the while still having your 65 million years and a gazillion here and 250,000 gazillion years and all this other bullshit. You could. You very well could. Now, I know it's just stupid. And I'm telling you right off the bat, this is stupid. This is more of a, like, you should be entertained at the stupidity and not like, oh, you're just a fucking idiot, blah, blah, blah. No, don't look at it like that. I mean, come on. Don't look at it like that. You know, this is what it is. Now, my argument is this. No, we're talking Bible here now. At the time, there was a falling away of a third of the angels in Lucifer. Now, whatever plane of existence they were on, they fell from heaven. In the Bible, in different tablets, it talks about the falling star and that type of stuff. And that, you know, whatever. Now, what happened during Adam and Eve's time? They were in the garden and there was a serpent. Now, what if the serpent was a dinosaur? Or, you know, I'm not talking like a T-Rex, but something along that line. A variant of that. Okay, what if? Now, technically, see, because I know a lot of Christians that are stupid want to be like, Satan put the dinosaurs there to trick us all. Okay, that's just retarded. Although the Bible does kind of suggest that, though. For example, it said that the serpent, because of what he did to Eve, by, you know, beguiling her and shit, that he would then slither on his belly. So right there, if you're looking at that, you have the exact same thing in two different variants. And if you're looking at it not at the time that it happened, but you're looking at it from our point of view, you know, kind of like looking back into history, you'd see two of those, and you're like, well, there must be a missing link somewhere, when there wasn't. Now think about that. Now, I don't know how God would have physically changed the serpent. That's not the point. Now, no, again, a lot of people want to say, well, the dinosaurs, they had brains the size of peas. Okay, guess what? Guess what? That's fine, because here's the newsflash. Now, again, if you're talking the Bible, okay, so yes, I say dinosaur. I'm using that as a sort of a joke term, but lizard, reptilian, humanoid-ish thing, okay, communicated with Eve. Now, it doesn't say it. I don't know. I don't think the Bible says spoke necessarily, like verbal. Although it could. I don't know the connotation there. I admit that. Now, this could have been like a telepathy thing. But either way, you've got these fallen angels that are on a different plane of existence, who we know from, if we're going with the Bible, that they can possess living creatures. So what if they possess the fucking dinosaurs? Now think about it. We don't know exactly when Lucifer fell. I'm assuming it was before the creation. So they were mingling around. They were here before us. And everything that was here was being created. Now think about this. What if there was a time dilation field around the Garden of Eden, where time basically stopped? Time was not even an issue. Now, if you put a time dilation field around that, everything else in the universe would be continuously going. I mean, hell, they could have been there 100 million years. Dinosaurs could have been evolving and, you know, doing whatever. All the while, this little pocket, this little bubble, is outside of time. Now, the minute Adam and Eve sinned and God jettisoned them from the Garden of Eden, they go out into the real world, where all these dinosaurs were. Now, there has to be some way to connect the two, because if they were outside of time, I don't think they could technically communicate with each other. Although I don't know, I'd have to think about how that would work. Although I think it could work. Now if it was like a telepathy thing, I don't know. Maybe it could go. I don't know. Maybe because especially if you're talking like well, things like quantum physics and shit. Time and space doesn't matter. So if telepathy works similar to that, or there's like no like physical connection, and again, I'm working this theory out in myself because I'm just coming up with a stupid idea, and I want to see where I can go with it. It's basically what this is. So please don't hate me. No, you can hate me. I don't give a fuck. But think about that. You have this serpent, or you have this fallen angel spirit energy that is now taking, because again, people want to say, oh, they had brains the size of peas. Well, you know what? That was fine, because all they needed to do was have enough brain power to just move their limbs and move and walk and okay. Now, if you've got a spirit indwelling you, you don't need any of that stuff. You don't need that stuff. And if you can communicate, telepathically, you don't need vocal cords. You don't need any of that stuff. All you need is just a physical body for them to dwell in. And I don't know. Is there any possibility to that? That perhaps, because there was this one guy, and he's making these not accusations, but like these ideas that Lucifer and the demons and all that, they were manipulating DNA. They were fucking around with the DNA. And seriously, if you look at dinosaurs specifically, and the amount of variety that you see, it looks like somebody was fucking with the DNA. It does. You can't say that, well, it's just random, and this one had a horn on its dick, and this one had a horn on its toe, and dude, when you look at that shit, it was just outlandishly, like, vile, almost. Like, if you look at the human body, it's interesting because, now granted, there are certain parts of the human body that have literally no use. Like, some people want to say the gallbladder, the appendix, certain things like that. But for the most part, there is a legitimacy there for most everything. But if you look at the dinosaurs, they look like they were just randomly thrown together. Which, again, you're talking evolution, well, it's up in this way. I get all that. I totally get all that. But again, what if the lizard people that Alex Jones wants to talk about, and all these other fucking people, what if the lizard people were actually the dinosaurs being indwelt by these fucking angelic assholes? I mean, think about it. Think about what that would mean. Now, I don't know what type of... Well, I mean, the Bible does say that Satan does have authority over this world, technically. I mean, he does have to get permission from God. Now, I don't know if that's for everything, but definitely when it pertains to us, he has to get permission to do stuff. Now, I don't know if he can manipulate DNA. Like, I mean, think about it. What if they came here after they fell? You know, what was here, what was cooking here? Like, again, why would God send, or better yet, send? Why would God put Adam and Eve right smack dab in the middle of where he sent Satan and the demons? I don't understand that. I've never understood that. But yet he put us right dead center in the middle of their territory. And then looks at Job and says, "Have you considered my servant Job today?" So, I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. But see, now the problem is, I'm thinking this one guy, he making this argument that the demons, because there's different variants of demons. There's the fallen angels who then had sex with the women and quote unquote had giants. What if the giants were the fucking dinosaurs? That's all I'm going to say on that. Now, that would be post-flood, or pre-flood, excuse me. That there were dinosaurs. Now, I'm not necessarily saying dinosaurs exactly, but what I'm suggesting is these fuckers were here before we were, in the midst of creation, whatever creation, 6 days thereof, again, if you're talking Bible. Again, if there was time dilation fields, there's a whole slew of possibilities there. Like, if God could take certain parts of reality and move it outside of time, then you could have the rest of everything else growing and evolving and whatever. So, I don't know. I don't know about that, but that's actually kind of cool when you think about that. That's actually kind of cool. Because, like, doctors want to use time dilation fields for, like, when they cut people open, they go in there and they do all that stuff, put a little time dilation field. They want to make, like, almost like a quarter size. Now, and again, I don't know how realistic this is at this point, but that was the goal, I guess, what they were trying to do. I don't know how like I said, I don't know how close they are to getting it done. But it's not that far-fetched. Or if you could make this little pocket, well, you do need a lot of energy to do it, but whatever. If they could make the pocket, they could make the incision, the laser incision, and then heal it up and make sure it doesn't, doesn't get infected, and then they can just close you up. And they can even put the time dilation field around that too, and then let the scar heal up. So instead of it taking weeks and months and whatever, it can literally take like half hour or whatever. I mean, again, that's what they were trying. This was like real science, like future science that they were trying to do. This wasn't like just some weird bullshit. So if we could actually create time dilation fields, now if you're God and you're energy and you're moving at speed of light, you don't really need a time dilation field per se because you're moving at speed of light, so you're technically outside of time. Okay, technically. So if God is there, see, that's the thing, and it does say that God dwelt among them. So if God was walking around, then what if that area was outside of time due to his presence? Now that's interesting. So now you got these fallen angels rooting around with God knows what else is out there. Now again, what if they themselves created the dinosaurs? Just fucking around with whatnot. Because I think there was like two variants of them. There was the basic dinosaur, which is just random shit. Just random tissue that sort of just, okay, the monstrosities, basically. When you look at the dinosaurs, they are legitimately monstrosities. They are. So sometime, I wish I had it in front of me. I don't remember the exact verses. But when it talks about creating lizards and things that creepeth upon the face of the earth and stuff, I think that's what, day 4 or 5 maybe? Or 3, 4, 5, somewhere in there. Forgive me for not knowing. I should know. I think that's somewhere around the time that they fell and they came to Earth, and you got these creepy, crawly lizards and animals were running around. And I think they could have taken the DNA and completely tried to bastardize it. Because again, the whole point of Satan and Lucifer and demons and all that shit is to bastardize what God has done perfectly. So, yes, Satan could have really put the dinosaurs here to fuck with people. And be like, oh, it's evolution. Or, you know, whatever. He could very well have done that. Now think about it. If you're an entity that has fallen from grace, and you can take on human form, or indwell human form, or indwell some sort of organic form, be an animal or whatever, which is interesting because a lot of Native Americans believe shit like that with like the wolf and the owl and shit and the eagle and stuff, that they're actual entities or actual beings, and that they transform and, you know, shit like that. What if it's just demons fucking around? Because, as I said before, there's different variants. There's the fallen angel, and then there's the giants. Now, what if they took on, or what if they took on like a lizard form? Because that would have been probably the dominant species at that time. Because you're talking about half creation here. Things aren't completely created. Human beings aren't even created yet. So you're talking about this in the middle of creation. All of a sudden, these angelic fucktards come down, and they're butthurt over what, you know, God's like, ooh, and they're like, and they're getting all pissed off, and you're like, oh, look what God's done. Let's fuck with it. That's not that far fetched. I mean, again, if you're talking God and Satan and angels and stuff, and assuming there's even a possibility that's even a thing. I believe it's a thing, but some people don't, you know. Whatever. But if it is a thing, then guess what? It makes sense. I mean, think about it. If you know, somebody that meant something to you basically shunned you, you're going to be like, fuck you and fuck your family and fuck the horse you rode in on. Literally. So think about it. What if the giants were not people, per se, but they were lizard-type people? They were the Anunnaki and all these other assholes, these pre-flood faggots. Think about that shit. Now, they wouldn't, I don't know if they technically would be lizard-ish, but the connection could be there. That these demons, these fallen angels were taking over these reptiles, snakes and T-Rexes even, brontosauruses and shit, fucklodons and all these other assholes. They could have been taking that shit over. And if they're communicating through, let's say, a telepathy or something, that'd be kind of fucked up. First off, that's just fucked up. Then you have a dinosaur like, hey, what the fuck, yeah. No, bullshit. That ain't happening. Shit ain't happening on my fucking watch, I tell you right now. No, that ain't happening. It's creepy as fuck. But I mean, think about that shit though. Honestly, think about that. You got fallen angels coming down in the midst of creation, and the dominant species, like I said, would be reptiles at that time. I mean, what are they going to do? Indwell fish and go bloop, bloop, bloop? No, it's not going to happen. That ain't going to happen. People aren't here yet. People are not here yet. Although, see, I don't know. Because we were always told that the main reason that Lucifer fell is because, although I guess they would have had the blueprints, I suppose, and they are outside of time, so I guess they would have had the blueprints. But I was going to say the timing is a little bit off because they would have been. Although I guess actually the timing is not off because what was confusing me is that Lucifer was supposed to hate us for the fact that we would sin and God would forgive us. Yet if he and his ilk sinned, they were damned forever. And that's what pissed him off. That's why he hates us. because he was created first, we were created last, basically, and you know, the first shall be last and last shall be first kind of concept, and he got all butthurt over it. And so I guess it doesn't technically matter, because again, they would be outside of time. So realistically, if they were outside of time, they could see everything even before it happened, because we are living in time, and we have to, it's like the Bible says we are presently seated in the heavenly places. Well, I'm not in a heavenly place right now. I'm laying in bed and my back hurts, and it's 4:30 in the morning and my throat is dry and I got to go shopping in a couple hours. Okay, that's not a heavenly place, but yet the Bible says we are presently seated in heavenly places, which means that physically in time we have to endure to get to that point, which is interesting. So if they're outside of time, then they would have seen, because basically time is already written. It's just we have to live through it. We have to experience it. We have to get there. Because that's the thing. Like, if you could travel into the future, then that means the future is already written. And that doesn't mean it couldn't be changed if you could go back, but the future would have to be written. Or what else are you going into? Because, I mean, it really is only two thoughts. Like, Jesus says that basically, like, don't worry about what you're going to eat tomorrow, what you're going to wear tomorrow, don't worry about your clothes, don't worry about this, don't worry about that, because tomorrow will take care of itself. And there are too many trials and tribulations and bullshit for today to worry about tomorrow. Now, that could also mean that tomorrow hasn't technically been written yet. Tomorrow isn't here yet. Like we are on the cusp of time moving forward, or time is already written. So it's one of two. It's one of two options here. Now, as far as being seated in heavenly places, that doesn't technically matter, because I could die right now, or I could live another 10 years. It doesn't matter. Because if you're with God, you're outside of time, so it doesn't matter. Or it could be another 1,000,000 years. I mean, this earth could go on for another 1,000,000 years before God even intervenes. So whether it's 10 minutes from now or 1,000,000 years from now, I am still presently seated in heavenly places. Even though it may take 1,000,000 years in real time to get there. Obviously, I'll be dead by then. You know, you'd have to have the rapture and, you know, all that shit. But it doesn't really matter. For us, it's like, holy shit, that's a long time. But, you know, again, you're outside of time. You're in a time dilation field, or you're moving at the speed of light, or faster if that's even possible. It doesn't matter. So again, what if there are two variants of people? Or two variants of dinosaur? I say dinosaur again is more in a, I don't know how I want to define that, whether it's I'm being stupid and silly or I'm being partially legitimate. I don't know how I feel about it right now. But what if there were two variants of dinosaur? There's your typical dinosaur that you see that, now that's an interesting fact, because if there was a flood, now whether it was a worldwide flood or just that area flood, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Even if it was just a local flood, it's still a worldwide flood, because, well, actually at that time, I believe, weren't the continents together? So it would have had to been a worldwide flood, basically. Or it could very well have been a worldwide flood, if that's the case. Or at least the continents were much closer together or something. Whatever. I don't know how that works out. I don't really care at this point. But you could technically have, again, if you do use the dilation field around the Garden of Eden, and God himself could very well be a time dilation field, if you think about it. Because where God is, there is no time. So if God is dwelling among them in the garden, now I don't know how far that would stretch out. I'm assuming it would encompass the garden, but it doesn't really matter if it does or it doesn't. Well, let's say it did. Let's just say it encompassed just the Garden of Eden. That means everything else outside of the Garden of Eden would be going at a normal pace. So God could be there for like 10 minutes, and 10 million years just went by for the rest of the world and the rest of the universe. So again, you could have your evolution and your Bible all at the same time. Because it pisses me off when you got that Neil what's-his-face and some of these other guys are like, oh, the Christians, that's a stupid idea, it's just so dumb, it's just science is science, and, you know, whatever. I mean, talk about a closed-minded prick. I mean, seriously, what if God does exist? Why is it so hard to deal with that? Likewise, if God doesn't exist, guess what? If God doesn't exist, then I've basically just wasted 31 minutes of my life. And had an interesting conversation about it. I mean, okay, and guess what? I die, the lights go out, and that's the end of me. Or there's life after death, and Jesus is Lord. I don't know. But why is it? I don't understand. It's like, oh, I believe there's, 800 billion planets that could house life. There's probably alien life. You believe in alien life, but you can't believe in God? Seriously? I mean, even if you take all the hocus pocus bullshit out, like, oh, he's a spirit and he's this, that, and the other. Take all that shit out. You're telling me that God can't be an alien from one of these Googleplex of fucking planets he could be from? Really? You're telling me he's not a planet? He couldn't be on a planet somewhere? Planet X, maybe? With the Sumerians? Really? You're telling me he couldn't be part of that? He couldn't be an alien somewhere who came and terraformed this planet. Which, if you read Genesis, it is terraforming. It's exactly terraforming. In fact, the shit they're seeing in the telescopes now, where they're seeing all these birth of stars and birth of galaxies and shit, that's exactly what Genesis is all about. I mean, again, if you read Genesis as a fact, forget the day and night. Oh, first day, second day. Forget all that. Forget all that. Now, again, if there was a time dilation field, then that could actually work. But, whatever. Get that out of the way. Take that out of the picture. If we can't agree on that, fine. Let's agree on the rest of it. If you read the way it works, the way it's written, that's terraforming. And the only real downside is, I believe it's verse 10 or 11 in Genesis 1 or 2, I can't remember, where it says that green grass sprouted up because God willed it. No, I gotta be honest with you, that is a bullshit answer. You're basically explaining everything, you're explaining how the terraforming is working, or at least in this narrative, whether you want to believe it or not, whatever, but the first part of it is explaining how it's all working together. And then all of a sudden it gets to the real point, like, okay, where did grass and trees and whatnot come from? And it's like, oh, God willed it. God just willed it. And again, I'm sorry, that's a bullshit answer. That's a straight up bullshit answer. And I'm saying that as a Christian, that's a bullshit answer. It is. It's a bullshit answer. It's a cop-out. God willed it. Now, yeah, God willed it. I believe it. Okay, fine. How did he do it? Now, if he's a real dude on a spaceship, okay, so he has this DNA splicer thing. He's got this, 3D printer kind of a deal. You tell me he couldn't just print grass from, whatever the molecular, makeup is? Maybe on his home planet there is grass and trees and chickens and shit. Okay. So he took all that shit, or maybe he started from scratch. Maybe he's a freaking developer somewhere, and he's making this stuff up as he goes. I don't know. That's not far-fetched. If we're in a holographic universe, it's not that far-fetched. Seriously, if we're in a holographic universe, then evolution doesn't exist. It doesn't. It can't. Because every time you're looking for a missing link, there isn't one, because simply what it was an update. Now think about that. Think about if we are in a holographic universe. So when God said to the serpent, because of what you've done to Eve, you're going to crawl on your belly. What if he just said, oh yeah, by the way, and put in some lines of code into the Matrix, and all of a sudden now this being that had arms and legs is now crawling around on the ground. Think about that. Think about that shit. Now that kind of pisses me off, because if God has that kind of power, and he's God, so he should, why can't he give me a roast beef sandwich? You know what I'm saying? Why can't he code that shit in? I mean, seriously. Why can't you code in something that's actually important? Like, I need a new computer. Why can't you code that shit in? You know? You code in stupid stuff, but you can't code in something that's meaningful to me. You code in a lot of bullshit from me, you know? But, you know, that is what that is. But I think really the biggest problem is there's a disconnect between, as far as my idiotic theory goes, and again, I'm just being silly when I say all this. In other words, I'm taking a stupid idea and trying to put legitimate science behind it. Okay, it's just, I'm being stupid right now. So just hopefully it's enjoyable to the listener. I don't know if it is. I don't really care. Whatever. I'm just doing it for the views anyway, so who gives a shit? So, whatever. But there's two slight problems. Is that there's the early version of the dinosaur, which just is a complete mess. It's just a complete genetic fuck, basically. It's a complete genetic clusterfuck. Like, again, you look at the dinosaurs, they are a clusterfuck of genetics. They just are. Now, what could be a way to explain that? Well, again, what if God created everything that creepeth upon the earth, blah, 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 and then Lucifer came down and, you know, had no understanding of it, started tinkering around with the lines of code in the DNA, and next thing you know, it's got a horn on his dick, and a horn on his ass, a horn on its foot. Think about that. That's not far-fetched. I mean, it's a little silly if you're going to throw in Lucifer, especially if you don't really believe in that kind of stuff. But aside from that, if you assume he's real, you know, that's an interesting way to look at it. So now you've got Adam and Eve trapped in this time dilation bubble with God, while the rest of the world, including the angels and shit, and who the fuck knows what they're doing, though? If they have free reign over this earth, and they can take over stuff. Now, I don't know if I might be confusing. Can the fallen angels possess people, or can just the demons possess people? Because the demons are supposed to be the offspring of the fallen angels and the women. I might be confusing the two, but either way. Yeah, because think about it, they would be half spirit, half man, literally. And even if the fallen angels could take human form, now what if instead of taking human form, they actually created human form using humans, maybe humans and lizards, and actually made lizard people? Because they are connected, they do tend to be connected with lizards for some reason. Serpents and dragons and Leviathan. Demons are, fallen angels are connected with that shit. Now, one of the theories happened is that when the flood happened, all the quote-unquote the giants, who are, again, the offspring, the Nephilim, or whatever the fuck they're called, they died, but their spirits are still, they're basically almost like disembodied heads in a way. They're these spirits, but they have nowhere to dwell. That's why people get possessed. That's why, you know, certain things. So the theory, that theory, not my theory, their theory is that when the flood happened, all the giants died, and they were trying to find hosts for these freaking entities, these half-wit entities, because that's what they are. They're legitimately half-wit entities, because and I say that not disparaging them, but you know, they're not human, they're not angel, they're half breeds basically. I don't know what that makes them. I don't know if they're, you know, special or retarded or something. I don't know if that makes them, again, I don't know if they're like, if they excel in something or if they're just autistic. I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're like high-end quality, like this is a good mixing of the two, or if it's like some sort of incestuous thing. I don't know. I really don't know. But because, yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess it'd be the Titans. Titans really were never, they were kind of lumbering like dirt. You know, they really weren't all that bright. They never really came across as being all that bright. That's what I mean by that. Which is where we get, like I said, we get the idea of the Titans from. These big giants in the land. So, I don't know. So, again, what if they were manipulating the DNA of the dinosaurs? Because, again, they would have had a game plan since before all this took place. They knew that Adam and Eve was going to fall and that God was going to forgive them. So their game plan would have been, as our church used to say, is eternity past. So again, what if the idea was to come here, start manipulating stuff? Because what they do, they bastardize stuff. Because they can't create on their own, necessarily. So they have to, they are the anti-variant of Jesus, or God. So, if God creates something, they have to bastardize it. It's like, they're the yin to the yang, basically. Or yin to the yang, whatever. And, as a result of that, we're caught in the middle. And, you know, well, we did partake of whatever fruit that was. And guess what? We do know good and evil. We did learn good and evil that day. Which is interesting. See, because that's, I don't know, that's interesting too, now that I'm thinking about it, because all the angels at one point were good. Now, I still don't understand how they actually fell, though, because if they're good, they should be programmed to do good. I mean, for some reason, they had a free will. At least a third of them did. And as a result, they fucked up. And that left them in a bad place. Basically, they're fucked with no chance of redemption. So, I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, long story short, I do believe that, again, in this scenario, Satan did create dinosaurs. Maybe not outwardly, like overtly, but he created them in the sense of the variations of them. Like, okay, what if God only created the herbivores and Satan kind of manipulated the DNA and created carnivores? I don't know. Because you think of the herbivores as being kind of like derp, 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 just eating from the trees, and derp, derp, derp. Now, granted, they might roll over your car, assuming they were still here. See, that's one of the interesting things. If we had dinosaurs living here today, we could not have tall buildings. Okay, it'd be like Mothra and shit. Okay, it'd be like Godzilla. It's just you can't. We couldn't have a society today. We couldn't have a civilized normalcy. Like, you couldn't have your light on in the middle of the night because these fucking things will see it and be like, oh, stomp over your house. Okay. It's just... but... whatever. I'm tired. I am legitimately tired, though. I'm going to tell you that right now. But yeah, we had to get rid of the frickin' dinosaurs. Which, I mean, technically, I guess they did during the frickin' Knights of the Round and shit. Well, they all went out with their little armor plating and slayed the dragons. And that's exactly what they were. They were just Now, again, well, alright, think about this. What if they came, manipulated the DNA of the dinosaurs, and blah, blah, blah. The flood happened. The giants, whether they're dinosaur or some sort of reptilian being, or whether there's, whatever they are, they get basically wiped out. And then after the flood, you do see the, was it Nephilim or whatever? You do see the giants are still back after the flood. Which some people speculate that maybe Noah's sons' wives were impure. Because it does say that all the flesh was corrupted. Now think about that. Life is in the blood, so on and so forth. We're perfectly, wonderfully created, blah, blah, blah. Well, if that's the case, what would Satan want to do? He'd want to bastardize it. He'd want to bastardize the bloodline. And he did. That's why the giants were in the land. That's why all these other fucking people were in the land. Cain's offspring is in the land. Now, who was Cain bumping uglies with? If he was thrown out from the rest of the family, I mean, what did one of his wayward sisters, like, hey, darling? I mean, I don't know. But think about that, though. That is some crazy shit. I'll tell you one thing, though. I do think that if the alien greys are a thing, like if they're real, I think all they are is fucking embryos. They're like undeveloped embryos. I think they're human. I think they're experiments on human beings. I really do. You look at those fuckers, and then... seriously, look at a fucking embryo. They got the big eyes, they got the little mouth, the little jaw. They're aliens, dude. That's what these fuckers are. And what if they're being created as vessels for the demons, aka the giants, aka the offspring of the fallen angels and the women back in the day, whose disembodied head spirit has got nowhere to go. I mean, even in Jesus' time, they had to violate a bunch of pigs. I mean, think about that. Legion. Think about that. We are many. Think about that. That's some crazy shit right there. I mean, your fucking aliens could very well just be. Now, I'll be honest with you, I think it's the Chinese, because everybody keeps saying, well, human experimentation's illegal. Give me a break. First off, people do shit that's illegal all the time. I mean, jeez, really? I mean, have you heard of Guantanamo Bay? Have you heard of the Patriot Act? We do shit to each other, even in the best of circumstances, that are fucking pretty bad. So you're telling me that some underground kook government And hell, even the United States, I'm surprised. Dude, I'm seriously surprised they didn't do it. Maybe they did. I don't know. But I mean, think about it. We're doing that stuff right now. We're doing stuff right now with DNA. There's whole entire websites devoted to half-breed animals. Like there's leopards and spots and stripes and lions and shit, and it's all intermingled. They're beautiful creatures, don't get me wrong. I've seen some of the pictures. They're beautiful fucking creatures, but they're being manipulated. They're basically new creations, if you will. Old DNA making new, you know, just a few tweaks here or there. And it's crazy shit. But yeah, I'm telling you right now, I do think the fucking alien greys are nothing but Chinese little fetuses, basically. And the only reason that they're given life is because these fucking fallen angels are embedding them and indwelling them. Now think about that. They went from the lizards to people, and now they're going to these half embryo whatnot because it's easier. Because I mean, if they create people, then guess what? There's already somebody home. Now you create these fucking things, and they are what they are. You make a mass army of that shit. And that actually goes back to like Hitler and stuff when they were looking to try to make like super soldiers and shit. Think about this: you got alien gray super soldiers. You put one of those little fuckers in a cockpit somewhere and have him fly over Bangladesh and blow shit up. Okay. And what happens? He gets blown up. He becomes disembodied again. They just print off another fucking copy, and boom, he indwells that one. I mean, think about that. That's not all that far-fetched. That's not all that far-fetched. A little insane, but it's not far-fetched. It's not. I mean, again, we're under the assumption that angels and demons, all that stuff, are actually real. Okay, yes, if you can get past that point, or at least get on that boat for the discussion, then yeah, it's not that far-fetched. Think about that. You got these fucking asshole half-breed pieces of shit who got nowhere to go. That's where your ghosts come from. That's where your supernatural bullshit comes from. And they can exist too, by the way. They can absolutely exist. If their wavelength is 180 degrees outside of ours, they can totally exist on a different plane of existence and still, even on some level, theoretically, interact with our world around us. So demons and angels can exist, scientifically. It's not far-fetched. Whether they do or not, I don't know. But they definitely can. And it's creepy as shit, too, by the way. That's the thing. I don't even care if it's a good angel, man. I don't know. It's just, they creep me out, man. The thought of angels and demons and shit, and God, the whole thing does creep me out. I'm not gonna lie. Now, obviously, once I'm dead, it's not gonna matter because you're gonna transition into it and be like, oh, okay, this is what I've got to deal with now. You know? But it's crazy shit, dude. It's seriously crazy shit. But yeah, I honestly believe, and getting back to the point, I honestly believe that Satan did create the dinosaurs, or at least manipulated them into his image. Now think about that, dude. That's some crazy shit. And then you've got some sort of like cross between fallen angel and alien DNA bullshit, some sort of retro fucker intermingling with the women. Think about that. Oh my god, dude, that is just some outlandish shit right there. Now imagine if they could take on, what if they were like Morph or like Mystique, where they could take on human form, but they had to like intermingle the DNA with themselves. They could be the lizard people. Because again, lizards were a dominant species at that time. But again, I don't know about that because... See, that's the thing. I don't know. We were told that before they fell, they knew the end from the beginning. They knew that if they fell, that it was too late. That was the end of them. And if we disobeyed, that's what we were told they knew. So I don't know. I don't know if that would work. I mean, it could work, but whatever. I don't know. Again, I'm batting ideas here. I'm just going completely off my fucking rocker, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I mean, can you even for a slight second imagine any of this happening? It's because I don't know how that would work. I mean, because although I don't know, the Bible doesn't actually say that the serpent is Satan. I mean, could the serpent be something else? Shit, could it be something else out there? Now imagine that. You got the fucking you got the reptile people. You got the fallen angels. What if the reptile people were something different? What if they actually were alien? Well, now you got a whole other ball of shit mixed into that. Because then you got human beings, you got fallen angels, you got the demons, who are the half male, or the half human, half fallen angel. Then you got God. And it's just, oh my God, you could throw lizard people into that mix. Like, I don't know, some of the lizard people stuff is just kind of stupid. I mean, it is. It's an interesting concept, but some of it is pretty dumb. Like, people want to take shitty VHS tapes and say, oh, look at them, they're morphing. Dude, it's just a fucking shitty feed. That's all that is. Give me a break. Oh no, but look, they're morphing. They're morphing into something. Yeah, whatever. Morph into these nuts because you're a fool. But, you know, I didn't make it up. Actually, I guess you could probably take the lizard people out of the picture, but I was trying to convey it as in they fucked with the dinosaur DNA and then kind of implemented it into their own, or at least took on the form of maybe a lizard type deal, like something out of V, you know. But I don't know, man. That would just creep me the fuck out. I'm not gonna lie. Because lizards are creepy, dude. Although if they want to get cute, they turn into like praying mantises and shit. I mean, can you imagine that? Taking some praying mantis DNA and shoving that in there with some lizards, and you know, holy shit, dude. Oh my God, burn it with fire. Holy fuck, that would be creepy, dude. And not only that, but it's like this ancient entity who hates you and was like, brr, brr, brr. It's like speaking and shit. Holy fuck, dude. No. Like, I'd freak out if my dog started talking. Dude, he actually started talking the other night. Like, we had about 35 to 40 seconds. He came up and laid next to me. And he wasn't like speaking, but he laid up next to me and he made this groan. He was like, and I looked at him and he was like, really? Is that what you're going to tell me? And he does it again. So I do it again. I'm like, and he goes, and we did it for like 35 to 40 seconds. We literally were connecting on some weird ass fuck level. So that's about as much interaction with non-humans I can deal with. Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, Because I'm trying to piece together a bunch of stupid shit. Like, why would they manipulate, even if it was the dominant species at the time, why would they dominate lizard DNA? Maybe it was the closest one to theirs. I don't know. Theirs when they took on human form. Now it says they took on human form. Does that mean they willingly took on human form, or does that mean there was human form for them to take on or to indwell? See, I don't know about that. Which, if that's the case, then there was all a bunch of animals here. It could have been anything. It could have been dinosaurs. Could have been, you know, rodents. You know. And considering that they literally were giants, think about that. What if the giants in the Bible that it refers to is not just really tall people? Although people do get pretty tall. I mean, even today people get over like 7, 8 feet. They do. Now, I don't know about all the other stuff, but I don't want to get into that. Because, to be honest with you, I have my personal view of it, but I'd like to know more about it before I start talking about giants and like actual giants, like physically, you know. Like, some people speculate that Adam and Eve were tall. And I have to wonder if they didn't have 6 fingers. That's another thing. But I don't. That's for another time, because I would associate 6 fingers with like 6 senses. Like, we have 5 senses, we have 5 fingers. Again, that's kind of a. I'm kind of making a comparison of something that really shouldn't be compared. But, you know, what if they were? That's like Adam and Eve didn't have a belly button. Well, what if they did? See, because what's interesting about this is, let's just say God did create something out of nothing. Then that something out of nothing would have had to have had a backstory, even though the backstory didn't come into play. So they would have had to have had, you know, a normal birth. Based upon what? I don't know. A trash can? I don't know. They were born in the trash? I don't know. Because could they have actually had belly buttons? Because if you take it and you fast forward it, like if you're watching a movie and you fast forward through like the first, 5 minutes, then everything that happens from that point on is still canon, even though you may not understand it. So if we fast forward to a certain point, then would they have had belly buttons? Or if when God created them, if he knew that, okay, there's going to be an umbilical cord at some point in their lives, let me add the remnants to these guys. I don't know. It's interesting either way. Because it's kind of like that spooky action concept. It's like they exist, which means they had to come from somewhere. But yet, they still exist. It's like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, the chicken had to come first because there's a certain enzyme in the shell that only a chicken can produce. So the chicken had to come first. You can't create something that there's nothing else that could create that. It doesn't work that way. Unless you manipulated it in like a lab or something, like, and you have the access to said material, maybe you could do it that way, but still, whatever. Anyway, I'm completely rambling. So yeah, I want to throw out this insanity. I don't care if it's good. I don't care if this is funny. I don't care if this is witty. I don't care. It was just me being stupid, basically. Which is, usually what happens, but anyways, I think I'm done. Like I said, I just wanted to just throw it out there and see what happens, I like to ponder this some more, because who knows? Maybe there's some truth to it. You don't know. You don't know. That's the thing. Any great conspiracy theory, you have no proof. So the only proof is in my mind. So take it for what it's worth. Anyways, I'm done. Fuck you.